it occurs to me, and I think maybe he mentioned this slightly, at least in his talk, but all living things exude or are signals. Let's say, how do I say this? All living things, plants, insects, people, ecosystems, greater or smaller, they all exemplify robustness. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here, essentially. I mean, it's very, very rare, but probably, within possibility that some living things are just, well, we know this, that they're temporary apparitions that come about, like, specific, like if like five animals depend upon each other to survive and one of them gets knocked out, then the whole chain falls apart, for instance. So I can't say every, but most, I would say, most of them have arrived at this moment in time through all of whatever happened before now to get here, and they exemplify robustness. Whereas our man-made world, our man-made structures, whether it's language, whether it's plants, the plants you're talking about working in, um, automobiles, transportation, energy, all these systems that we've designed and implemented into the world have brought and given birth to into this world. They are not necessarily robust. They are just here. And, just like fashions change, so does a lot of the stuff that we create turn out to be a lot, less of a thing than we thought it would be, or more of a thing than we thought it would be. I mean, it's kind of a living, it's something you learn as you go, and I know you're saying you were not being philosophical, but I think that, the philosophy actually is about just trying to reflect upon where wisdom, what through experience have we figured out, and what can we derive from this. And so your tale is naturally wise because it it exudes, or it like expresses certain uh, lessons, certain like your example of, you don't know what's going to go on, what's going to happen next, so we double our fail safes, because we really have no idea. We may need two valves, even though we don't know why we would need two valves, but we know valves don't always work. So if this needs to be open, we need a backup valve, basically. Pretty simple, actually. But in any case, I understand that the single sort of performance fixation on profit has basically created a single valve world, with valves failing every day. So, yeah, we do not. I think the thing that we've got to derive from this is, are we moving forward in our own personal lives or at large? What are the things that we're doing that will allow this to not fail? You know, allow this thing that we've built, our home life or whatever, to chug along, um, with failure as a feature and not a, you know, too expensive of a thing to consider. Anyway, that's just what I'm getting right now. I'm standing in some weeds, so I'm going to get back to uh, whacking some of these down.
Okay, Mike, interesting question. How do I apply this to myself? Um, and, we have a little different orientation. You think of yourself, more locally, and I think of myself as part of this big system that I've watched for 80 years. Um, I think the big system, this sounds foolish, perhaps, but I think the big system's in more danger right now than my system. And my system is now in danger because the big system is in danger. So I look at the national debt. I look at the fact that, I mean, nobody else seems to be noticing, but we are propping up the Japanese economy right now with money investments to keep their currency from collapsing. Their currency is collapsing because they've been trying to support our debt, buying our bonds, and they're only paying 1% interest on their bonds because that's what they can afford to pay, and we're paying 4%. So money is streaming out of Japan, not voluntarily like it was before when they were just uh, buying our bonds and the world was not starting to panic. Um, they are now just, people are moving their money to US, which sounds good, except for the fact that we're all interdependent. We're all in this very complicated web of existence, and we're fixing to face oil shortage and everything else from what's going on in Iran, and then that's been expanded to the Red Sea, and there's not a lot of people that are worrying about this yet. I mean, the Robert Odles in this world that kind of half-ass understand how all this fits together are starting to panic. But apparently a few people with money are starting to panic too.